As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media that we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed into the multiverse, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, he's known as the unknown Puerto Rican Flash.
That's L Flash, Steve. It's Yahel. I'm doing well, Steven. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back after our series of in real life episodes filmed or recorded at the L Flash base of operations in Tampa, Florida.
Flash Catacombs.
The catacombs. Well, yeah. I mean, you got that. You got that coffin in there. It might as well be a catacomb.
Yeah, it's turning into one. I got a few more things for the coffin that came in. It's looking really good now.
So, and what is the overall plan for the interior design of your house?
Are you familiar with the Castlevania video games?
That is a great answer. An awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm going for, but I'm trying not to go too crazy because I do want to sell the house. And so I don't want to do too much stuff to the walls or anything, but yeah, I want to get some damask wallpaper maybe for one of the rooms, but I'll probably save that for the next house. And yeah, it's gonna look like a nicer castle.
So Nouveau Gothic chic, is that what we're calling it?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Well, none of this has anything to do with the show that we are covering today. There's not even a transition I could do here. Well, all right, here. I just thought of one. Well, here's someone who's not decorating their interior to look like a castle. It's the 90s Flash. And what is your experience?
Well, I will say the show looked, especially at night, very like noir gothic synthwave, this weird combo.
Oh, absolutely. And you might as well say Gotham City because they were totally going for the 89 Batman look. Which
100%.
Which though it looked, I mean, we're already getting into it too deep, but I was going to say, which though it looked good, I don't think is the right kind of feel for the Flash. But we will get further into that in just a moment. So what is your history with just the Flash as a character? What was the first time you encountered him? Was it comic books, TV? Obviously not movies, because only now did he finally get a movie.
I don't really know. I'm assuming comic books probably. Because I don't remember. I never watched, what was it, the Super Friends?
Right, me either. I think that was before our time, a little bit before our time.
Yeah. No, it was, but at least in Puerto Rico, they ran reruns.
Oh, sure. I mean, same here.
It looked outdated even then.
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, I think it was just
what about you, man? I'm assuming comic books.
You would assume that, but it's actually this show. I had really no idea who the Flash was, and I remember, I think they had a picture of him on the cover of Entertainment Weekly or something in the suit and everything. And then, I don't know, I guess my mom turned it on for me or something. And, I mean, as far as I knew, The Flash was just a TV show. But then later, she actually got me a Flash comic. And I was like, there's Flash comic books? What?
Did you think that the comic book was based on the TV show?
I might have at that time. I might have. But yeah, no, it was this show first. And how about the show? When did you watch this show back in the day?
I did not watch the show, and I really don't know why. I know I saw it, but I never watched it. I don't even remember what it was carried on, TV station or anything. So yeah, I somehow never watched it. Oh. And it looks like it only got one season, right? So
yeah. But I mean, I remember watching it, and spoiler alert, at least I guess not really a spoiler. It's just back then, loving it. and it just went away and never came back. But how about the new Flash on the CW? Did you watch that?
Yeah, I actually watched like the first, I want to say 3 or 4 seasons of it, maybe more. And I
Yeah.
really liked it, but then it just got a little too like melodramatic with the love stuff with Iris, and it just felt too soap opera.
Yeah, the writing really took a hit after the second season. I thought the first two
Hmm.
seasons were awesome,
Yeah.
and it was so it did nothing for your fandom to see John Wesley Shipp play Barry's dad in the new show. You just
So
didn't
weirdly
care.
enough, because I knew that he had played the Flash in the '90s, and I don't even know how I knew it was him. Like I actually was excited when he popped up and thought it was really cool that they did that.
Yeah, as was I. And the fact that he not only played the dad, but using all their weird multiverse logic, he also got to be the
Golden
Golden
Age
Age
Flash.
Flash. Yeah, yeah. And he still looked good. It was definitely,
Yeah, he looks fantastic.
yeah, for sure. And did a good job. And I remember, I guess when they wrote him off, I was kind of disappointed about that. But I mean, that I was able to live with, but the terrible writing that came in season like 4 and 5, and then everyone getting superpowers was what made me turn off.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the other thing too. And like everybody knows who the Flash is. Like he's constantly telling people. So yeah, that's kind of lame. And like you said, everyone's getting superpowers. The dialogue, like the stories themselves weren't bad ideas for like episodes, but the dialogue was just like real cringe.
oh yeah, really cringe. So
I
you
might
ready?
watch this last season though,
Oh,
just to
well, let me know if it's worth it, because I was never planning on going back.
I mean, I'm sure it won't be great, but I just kind of want to see how they wrap everything up. And I found a YouTube video that catches you up on all the other seasons, so that way I don't have to watch.
It's just one YouTuber going, and then this guy got powers, and then this person got powers, and they went to a different universe, and then blah, 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 blah. But
Yeah, probably.
anyway, are you ready to dive a little bit deeper into the Flash 90s TV show?
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right. Well, before we get too deep in the show, I mean, since we're probably never going to talk about the Flash again, I thought I'd at least talk about his comic book origins. And this Flash, which is also known as the Silver Age Flash, his first appearance was all the way back in Showcase #4 back in 1956. And he was obviously a reimagining of the Golden Age Flash. He was created by Robert Kanigher and penciler Carmine Infantino. Did you know any of that, Yahel? Did you?
No, I did not.
Because I didn't either. No one ever talks about who created at least this version of the Flash, and I mean everybody loves him, but it seems like. But anyway, so the Flash TV show, the pilot, or we're watching the pilot, season 1, and it's actually on IMDb. Touted as episode 0. It premiered September 20th, 1990, and ran all the way to May 18th, 1991. As Yahel said at the top of the show, one season, 22 episodes. And so, what do you think about speedsters in like the comic book world in general?
Um, it's fine. There's just also kind of like a lot of them now, it seems like, much like the Flash TV show. But I mean, they've done some like really cool and interesting stuff with the Speed Force.
Right?
I will say like the Speed Force has kind of turned into, from what I know, like just whatever crazy idea you can just say, oh, the Speed Force can do XYZ
A
thing.
Deus Ex Machina kind of thing.
But it's not. Yeah, I was trying to think. I almost went with Deus Ex Machina too, but it's not really a reset button. It's like a, oh, we
Oh,
want to tell some crazy story. So it turns out that if you do this in the Speed Force, it does this other thing in the real world, kind of
I
thing.
know the term we're looking for here, but it's escaping my brain at the moment.
Yeah,
So, out of all
glad we're
the
prepared.
yeah, well, in every other way we're prepared. Do you have like through the Marvel and DC universe, or even if you can even remember like Image or the Ultraverse? Do you have a favorite speedster?
guess the Flash. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
he's got like the best costume, I'd say, like
yeah.
compared to like.
Who's the Marvel speeds? Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's kind of mad. He's mid, as the
Yeah,
kids say.
I agree. Like both versions of him, if you're talking about, because there's the one in X-Men and then the one who got killed in the Avengers universe. Although, that scene with the X-Men version of, him, running around in slow motion, that's a classic scene. But
Hmm.
other than that, I mean, he's kind of a one-note character. They've never really done much with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say the Flash is probably first and probably the best, for sure. So yeah, I guess that's about it. So here's the
But who is your favorite Flash? Like TV Flash, TV or movie Flash?
oh, that's good because it also bleeds into another question I was going to ask. You mean compared to like what we're about to watch versus the movie
Yeah,
versus Grant
as far
Gustin?
as yeah. Do you like the John West Shipley Flash, the Brian one, or the guy that attacks women Flash?
Well, of course, the guy who likes women. I think you mean Ezra Miller. No, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say I like this version just because the suit is comic accurate, and this was the first one I saw. And also like I don't care for the auxiliary characters in the Grant Gustin Flash. Like when he had a whole team like working with him, I was like, why does the Flash need a team? He's the Flash. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
He
I mean, I didn't mind. Oh, we have a creative KV here in the chat. Welcome.
what
I
up?
didn't really mind when it was like Iris and what's the younger guy's name with the long hair? Kind of looks like me.
Right, the Vibe guy. I just know his face.
Vibe, yeah. Before he turned into Vibe, when it was just like the
Right.
two of them and Iris's dad occasionally helping out, I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
But but yeah, you're right. Later on, it's like a team
I just hated
of
when
like
they
speedsters and
yeah,
yeah.
when they couldn't figure out what to do with Iris, and they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna make you the leader." Like, why is she the leader? She doesn't have any special powers, or like, have you ever led anything before? Like, it's
Yeah,
just
wasn't she like a blogger at first, or
yeah,
like?
it's something like as
I mean,
someone who works alone, basically.
yeah, and they do paint her like she is written to be, an intelligent person.
Hmm.
So okay, fine, but the problem is that like you have better qualified people like the cop dad,
Yeah.
who's used to these like dangerous situations, or
Exactly.
Barry Allen who works as a lab guy for the cops. So
Right.
it just doesn't like make sense for her to be the leader.
No, no, it's just creative's got nothing for you, Iris, so we're making you the leader. And I've seen it in other shows too. Whenever they can't figure out what to do with a character, they're like, "Oh, you're the leader." But anyway, so here's a quick synopsis for the '90s Flash TV show, and it's is as follows. A laboratory accident endows a police scientist with the ability to move at superhuman speed, which he uses to battle a menacing gang as a superhero. And this was directed by one Robert Iskov. And he does mostly TV, but he's got a few features. One that includes She's All That. I know I've never seen that. He directed an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, 21 Jump Street, and Star Trek The Next Generation. Should I run the
Ooh,
bumper or do you have
nah,
more?
don't run the bumper because there's others.
All right. Moving on to the writers, we've got Danny Bilson and Paul DiMeo, and they are a writing team, and they are responsible for. Have you ever seen any of the Trancers movies?
No.
Oh, you got to check them out. They're really fun, sort of B movies that were put out by like a Full Moon. There's like 5 of them. Like the first 3 are actually pretty good, and they star Tim Thomerson, which is Barry's brother in this pilot.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, they are a lot of fun. But these guys are also responsible for maybe more famously The Rocketeer and a little show called Viper, which I think has been on our list for a while that we need to cover someday.
Oh, I thought we did cover it. Didn't we?
We never covered Viper, as far as I know.
Maybe I'm just because I used to watch Vipers. So
Yeah,
maybe
me
it's just-
too. I'm
My
surprised.
memories are just so fond and at the forefront of my mind at all times.
Oh, Viper. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and it was distributed by Warner Brothers Television. So, who are some of the people, aside from Tim Thomerson, who are involved with the Flash TV pilot?
Well, there's a big cast, and I'm not going to go over all of this. We have Emma Pascal in the chat. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Hey, Wrestling Gaming, really loved your video on GoldenEye 64. Such a great review of why we love the game so much. I missed the 90s. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and Chris Perry's here. Hey, Chris. He said, have you guys done 90s Captain America? No, we did 80s Captain America. Right?
Yeah, like late 70s, early 80s Captain America. But it's on the list, though, Mr. Perry. You wait.
So on the cast, of course, we have John Wesley Shipp playing Barry Allen. We've already kind of talked about him.
He actually likes to be called John Wesley, you sunk my battleship. That's what he likes to be called.
I'm sure.
I've been working on that all week.
Wow. Good job, Steve.
Thank you.
Should we just end the episode now?
Ooh, should we go out on a high note? No. Yeah. Let's run it into the ground.
But anyways, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He actually played Jay Garrick / The Flash also in a couple episodes of Stargirl, which I never watched. But so I think he's most well known these days for The Flash, but he was in Dawson's Creek, 83 episodes. Did you know that?
I did not. I never watched an episode of Dawson's Creek in my entire life.
Well, Steve, I don't want to wait for you to watch it
now we're getting in
on your own. Before I need to add Dawson's Creek to the list. I've never seen it either. Anyway, we've got Amanda Pays playing Christina McGee.
She pays well, I hear.
Which I bet you were excited about since she played Theora Jones in Max Headroom.
Oh, yeah. Shoot. Yeah, absolutely. That's a nice
I didn't
little...
even notice.
Yeah. I leave this to you.
Disappointed in you, Steve. Alex, I don't know if the name's pronounced Desert or Desert or something, because he's got like a... He's got like a what do you call it? Like a accent mark over the
tilde.
E.
I think it's called a
tilde.
Yeah.
Tilde. Anyways, he I would assume you were excited because he's been in 39 episodes of The Simpsons.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you know that?
I did not.
Steve, please come prepared, more prepared.
All right, I'm going to throw you under the bus next time. You wait.
I'm just kidding. I literally just now saw that he was in The Simpsons. But anyways, he plays Julio. I'm going to go through these other ones kind of quick. We've got... Oops, I just closed my list of cast members. Hold on.
It's great to be back.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Michael Nader plays Pike. He's bald now, which is weird because he's got great flowing hair.
Now he's a true supervillain.
Yeah. But he's been in a bunch of stuff, but nothing that you've ever will know him from. Richard Belzer is here.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
I didn't even... Yeah. Richard Belzer of Law and Order fame. He's been in about 30,000 episodes of Law and Order, I believe. So all of them. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else here. Oh, Jay Allen, which is like the Flash's brother. He's played by Tim Thomerson. Thomerson. That makes a lot more sense than what I said.
Someone did their homework.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything since 2017, but he's been in a bunch of stuff. Then we've got Paula Marshall. She plays Iris West.
Man, this Iris is such a bitch.
She jumps to conclusions and is a bit unreasonable.
Yeah,
I will say.
And an artist.
Nothing I really knew her from, but most recently I see that she's in 9 episodes of Euphoria. So that's a hit show with the youngsters. God,
that show sucks. But anyway.
All right. And finally, playing the part of Lila, we have Lycia. I can't pronounce any names today. Lycia Naff. Anyways, she has also she was in a few things like in the 90s, and then she stopped acting. Like 91 was the last thing she did. Like she just did like guest spots in episodes, and then she didn't pop back up till 2008. Then she disappeared again until 2021, where she reprised her role as Sonia Gomez, who was originally in 2 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation as Ensign Sonia Gomez, but in 2021 she was in Star Trek Lower Decks as now Captain Sonia Gomez.
Wow.
It was a deep cut character that they brought back. She spills hot coffee on Picard.
Right, because, I mean, how many times did that happen in Star Trek The Next Generation?
Well, and she seems to want to bang Geordi as well. But anyways, that is the cast, and that is the only Star Trek connection I found.
All right, here it is.
Ah! Oh no! We just entered another Star Trek connection! Ah!
There is one person that you forgot to mention. I would say because he probably has like the most screen cred or credits, if you will, out of like all of the cast here, including Tim Thomerson, and that is Emmett Walsh, who plays both Barry and Jay's dad. Are you familiar with Emmett Walsh?
I mean, I recognized him,
Yeah.
but I was just like, oh, this is an old man. I'm not going to bring him up.
Because he must be a racist since that's what he usually plays.
Well, he's got that look to him, doesn't he?
He was born old, I'm telling you. He came out. It's what was that movie with Brad Pitt where he was like born old and ages in reverse?
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, that's it. That movie was based off of Emmett Walsh. I'm pretty sure. Don't
He's still,
quote me
like,
on that.
acting.
Yeah.
He's got like a movie coming out, A Little White Lie, or that came out this year.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
You can't stop Emmett Walsh. Like if you put him and like Christopher Walken in the same movie, like the age range goes over to like 5,000.
Dude, he was born in 1935. He's his 90s.
Jesus. Wow.
Like, that feels like so long ago, 1935.
Yeah. Yes, it's because it is. He must be like immortal or something. But anyway, so you ready to jump into the episode here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a question I forgot to ask you back when we were talking about the multiple flashes. Who do you think has the best costume between the three, non-comic book flashes?
Definitely not the movie costume.
Oh God, it's awful. It looks like a kid's like astronaut suit that you would buy from the Dollar General or something.
Yeah, it looks weird. I like a lot of the. I'm not a big fan of the latest suit on the Flash TV show, or I think they're using a new one for the last season. So I might be thinking of either the second to last design or maybe two designs ago. But there was one of those that I really didn't like. But I did like his first couple of suits.
Right.
I think like his season 3 suit was probably my favorite. So I'd have to go. I do like the 90s suit a lot too. Probably like season 2 or 3 of the current Flash TV show. But what John Wesley Shipp is a close second.
I gotcha.
Knows how to fill out a Flash suit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that suit would be perfect if they didn't go overboard on the enhancing the muscles. I mean, because he looks like he's been on the gas since like 1982.
Yeah, and the muscles like look surprisingly decent. Like it doesn't look like. Sometimes it does look a little like kind of bad, but for the most part they look realistic. But the problem is like we see him practically naked throughout this episode, so we know he's like not that big.
Right.
So I don't know why you'd make such a suit that's, and he's in great shape. You could have just made the suit a little thinner and not gone, like you said, as overboard with the muscles. Right. And I think it would have looked better. But I will say, for not being that big, like if you didn't know that he was like 20 pounds thinner, you wouldn't know from looking at him in the suit.
Sure. Yeah. They did a good job with it. And I would say, depending on, I'd say normally the Flash doesn't look nearly that jacked. But I guess it depends on who's drawing him. And I think
like John Wesley Shipp is like as actual jacked as you would probably expect the Flash to be, going off like, most of his comic designs. So I'm just like, why didn't? But I get it. You want to appeal to kids, I assume, with all the shooting
and the ladies.
There's plenty of John Wesley Shipp eye candy to go around in this episode.
Yes, there is. All right, so I love the opening logo at the very beginning. We didn't get
very cool.
Yeah, we didn't get the actual theme song, which basically just sounds like the regular '89 Batman theme song that they tacked on to all the episodes later. But you still get to hear plenty of Danny Elfman phoning it in. But that the producers just went up to him. They're like, "Look, this is superheroes. We want more Batman. So get to work."
I mean, these are probably songs that just didn't get used for Batman.
Probably.
They sound very similar in style and tone to the original Batman soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely. And though I love Danny Elfman and I like these songs, it is not right for the Flash. I would say that the Grant Gustin Flash, the music in there is probably more sort of on point.
Yeah, it's a really good,
if you will.
it's a really good theme.
Mm-hmm.
His voiceover. I mean, I don't know if they've redone it since I watched it, but his voiceover always cracked me up because of the way he would say the Flash at the end.
Oh man, I don't remember how
he'd say, "My name is Barry Allen."
I remember
blah,
that.
blah 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 blah, and I am the Flash. Well, I can't even do it as bad as he did. He'd be like, "The Flash." like he'd try to like zhuzh it up, but it would just came out like real strange.
I'll have to go back and take a listen to that.
Sounds really lame and weak.
Yeah, so basically we open up with a motorcycle gang. They're driving through the Warner Brothers backlot. I mean, a city. It's supposed to be Central City, and we actually get a shot of Central City, and it looks pretty much exactly like Gotham City. Maybe not as gothic with the architecture, but with the lighting, like for sure. And there's like a pink fog at one time as they're driving through. Basically,
yeah, there's a lot of like pink neon-esque lighting, little accents lighting. It reminded me a bit of the lighting in the Gen X pilot or movie that we watched.
Yeah, I mean, I could see people who, don't really read comics. They're like, yeah, we're going to comic book it up with some crazy colors. What do you think of that? But I liked it. I liked it. So I
liked it too. It didn't like carry over into the daytime stuff. And
no.
I know that it's harder, obviously, because but there's things you can do to like make it seem, more aligned in tone. So I was a little disappointed by that, but not a big deal.
Sure. So this like motorcycle gang is coming by and they're throwing, I mean, I guess in the real world it would be Molotov cocktails, but just like sort of weird little explodey things. And at one point there's a husband and wife and they have their baby and they're just trying to go into their apartment. And then here comes the motorcycle gang and they blow up their car. And basically, they're just trying to show us that this motorcycle gang is running roughshod on Central City, and it's just funny. And I wouldn't say funny, but it just doesn't feel like it feels like a backlot because there's not a lot of people hanging around. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like 2 a.m. or something, but
but I will say it's kind of explained in story because they do talk about how people are afraid to be outside of their houses at night.
Sure. I mean, surely they couldn't be trying to save money on extras, but
no, definitely not. Well, I mean, they spent a lot of money on blowing up cars, so
that, and I'm sure the flash effects back then were astronomical in price.
Man, that was one thing that disappointed me in the show was the special effects.
And also, I mean, again, we'll get to it, but there really wasn't a lot of the Flash in costume, but we'll get to that. So yeah, we already talked about the cinematography, and then we get Tim Thomerson, and I like that they bothered to name him Jay. I mean, it's clear that the writers here, what were their names? Bilson and DeMeo are actual fans of The Flash because they put a little bit of fan service here and there. And, of course, as like a 10-year-old who knew nothing about The Flash back then, all of that was lost on me. But watching it now, knowing more about The Flash, I really appreciated it. What say you?
Yeah, I agree as well. I will say though, one thing that I thought was a little weird was with the green balls that they're throwing to make the explosions. Like they being the motorcycle gang. What were they called again? The Knights, the Dark Knights,
Dark Riders.
Dark Riders. See, even I'm thinking of Batman. But it was so weird. They're just carrying like these balls, like full of the green liquid from Reanimator, basically.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, I like they're just carrying around in a sack, even though it's highly explosive. Like, it just kind of didn't make like the most sense to me.
Right.
But,
they just wanted to have something colorful and comic booky. I mean, it wasn't even
I mean, it's
special.
fine. It's fine.
I mean, if they were like like I said, if they were a regular motorcycle gang, or if this was maybe more of a realistic or gritty take on the Flash, they'd just be throwing Molotov cocktails. Like nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no big deal. So we end up with dinner at the Allen house, and does it feel weird to you since? I mean, obviously, I think we've probably seen more of the Grant Gustin Flash since there was how many seasons of that show now? Like 8 or
I think
10?
it's 8 or 9. Yeah,
And there
keep
was
going
only
there.
one season of this. So, I'm used to Barry like not having a family and his dad being in prison. What was it like watching him sit down to dinner with his full family and a brother that we've never seen outside this show before?
I mean, it was fine. It didn't hurt me the way it seems to have hurt you.
No, it didn't hurt me. I'm just saying, well, this is different. Because I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
typical Flash origin is he's trying to clear his dad who's in prison. But here they go a different way, which I mean I think still works. It didn't
Yeah.
hurt me. Just thought it was interesting. That's all.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting take. I didn't really expect it. I'm kind of glad they did it differently. Some other things do line up pretty similarly, like especially to the new TV show, like the way he gets his powers.
Right.
It's like they almost recreated it, like almost shot for shot.
Yeah, I was
on
really
the
surprised.
the new Flash.
Especially when they were like explaining why he needed the suit, like why she was gonna keep tabs on him with like
They went out to the track.
Yeah,
for
exactly. I
testing.
I was really surprised at how much they borrowed from this. But
Yeah, which
pleasantly
I will
surprised.
say, kudos to the producers of The Flash and those writers of season one. No, for paying attention to those details and doing those little callbacks. So The Flash, by the way, the number of seasons is 9.
Wow, that's
So yeah,
Good
and that
for
looks to be the
them.
current season.
for having steady work
Is the 9th season.
for 9 years. So yeah, man. I love when Barry shows up in his trench coat at dinner, and Iris. All right, I'm going to ask you, what do you think about some of the fashion choices in this show?
I mean, they're very 90s,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
He's always
especially Iris.
who's dressed like Blossom.
She's like your 90s typical like artsy
Right,
girl
right.
kind of look that they did in the movies. She's the quirky one.
She's the bitchy one in this. So much so that they wrote her off. She's not even in the series after this. Did you read that?
No, I didn't read that, but she will not be missed.
No. And plus, the Flash, he's got to play the field. You know what I'm saying? He's not a one-woman guy.
Hey, when you're as good looking as John Wesley Shipp, you can't be tied down.
The ship is leaving the harbor, baby.
You think he's ever like approached a woman and be like, "Are you ready for the ship to dock?"
If he hasn't, then he's missed out on a lot of action, I'm guessing.
I don't know. Something tells me that guy has never had a problem.
No, he probably
obtaining
hasn't had to
ladies.
use any pickup lines his entire life. He came
He's just
out.
like, "Look at me.
Yeah. Check out this chin. And speaking of like between
Look at
him,
this jawline."
yeah, between him and Tim Thomerson, it's like chin fest at the Allen house when they're having their little dinner. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like chiseled jaw time.
yeah, right. And I almost get like I don't know, in certain angles, I get like Bruce Campbell vibes from John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, he does look. I thought the same thing. He looks a little bit like Bruce Campbell at times.
Like they could have been. Imagine if Bruce Campbell. I mean, I love Tim Thomerson, but imagine if he could have gotten to play Jay Allen instead of Tim Thomerson.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Well, except that they kill him off.
You're right. Well, I mean, he's been killed off before, so.
Yeah.
So, all right. Basically, we meet the family. Then afterwards, Barry and Jay have like sort of a brother moment. He gives them like a gift. And then we go to the crime lab. And this is where when they were having the brother moment, I mean, you knew that Jay Garrick was going to die. Or not Jay Garrick, but Jay Allen was going to die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
pretty
had a feeling.
Yeah. So, yeah, Barry goes to work, and this is basically where we're shown. Oh, I guess another important thing about the dinner is that this is where we see that people look down on Barry and his lab work. They look at him as just yeah, which is weird, but I understand why it's there. It's so he can man up and want to be a superhero, a man of action, if you will.
Yeah, his family, or it's mostly his dad, I guess. Is like, oh, you're not a real cop unless you're like out in the streets.
Right. He's like, you're not a real cop, not like your brother here, who's so. The brother's the golden boy, and yeah, Barry's just sort of tossed away as this nerd or whatever. But hey, at least he's not like Ezra Miller assaulting women on the street. So
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's always somebody worse, is what I'm saying here. We meet his. I'm sorry. You say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say one thing I forgot to mention, but it doesn't apply to this episode. Is that Seven of Nine herself is actually a guest star on a later episode.
Oh, nice, and Mark Hamill as well.
Oh, and Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, wow, fantastic!
Reanimator himself. He probably shows up with a cease and desist letter.
Nice.
Oh man, Robert O'Reilly. That's Gowron from Star Trek. Sorry, and Jonathan Brandis, Mr. Sequest DSV himself, was also on a later episode. Okay, anyways, let's move on.
You really did your homework on this one, didn't you?
I may have had a little something to smoke earlier.
All right. So yeah, I'll blame the drugs. Typical Yahel. So.
Did you wait, Steve? Sorry. Did you see later in the episode that there's a billboard? It's kind of off in the background, but it says, "Don't do drugs. Call a friend."
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Like what? Like that's like.
I mean,
okay.
They're gonna
like,
do
in lieu of the drug. Like they're gonna like. They're so much fun. It'll be better than the drug.
Right. I mean, drugs are more fun with friends. Is that what they're saying?
I don't know.
Yeah, get it together, writers of The Flash. Or maybe that's just how things are in Central City. I don't know. So, yeah, basically Barry goes to work at the crime lab. We meet his friend / coworker, Julio. And then they're basically working hard trying to figure out, where to track the Dark Riders or something. And just out of nowhere, no build-up. Although they say a storm's coming. And then Barry wanders over by the window, and bam, you get your lightning, and basically the Flash is created. What do you think about these lightning effects? And then also when Barry's on the ground and the lightning is sort of flashing on him.
Lightning effects are fine. They were your typical 90s, lightning effects, that you would see any movie that used lightning effects. What did you think?
Yeah, they were fine. I mean, for this, I mean, I wonder if they, because a lot of TV shows, they really pour their money into their pilot so they can get picked up. I wonder if they skimped on the special effects in later episodes.
I did read that like the 4 suits cost $100,000 total.
Wow. Well,
so they made 4 suits for the show. So I mean, it's $100,000 just in the suits.
Mm-hmm. And then Barry goes to a 50s diner with Iris for some reason, and it's clear that, he wants to be married and she doesn't. And this definitely puts a little riff in their relationship later. Then we get to see the motorcycle lair of the Dark Riders. And what's funny is that...
Did they buy this from Shredder? Like, was there an estate sale?
Well played,
after,
sir.
He passed away.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it reminded you of any other layers, but you already beat me to it. What I love is that the opening scene is of them like grilling out. They're like grilling out hot dogs on a grill and stuff. And I'm like, oh, what?
Honestly, this looks like a pretty cool family type atmosphere here.
Yeah. And then there's also
everybody gets a bike. There's like arcade games in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I tried seeing what arcade cabinet that was.
I did too,
but
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was too fuzzy. But, and I guess we forgot to mention at the beginning, you can go watch the Flash pilot right now on YouTube. There will be a link in the description. And yeah, be prepared for spoilers galore. You've been warned.
And it's allegedly remastered. It does look really good.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, they have this kick-ass lair, and we're basically introduced to this girl Dark Rider, I can't remember her name, and her boyfriend, and the boyfriend's talking about Pike, saying that he's gone, and Pike is their leader. He's gone insane with just because of all these like cuts on his face, and he's saved up money that he's been skimming off the top, and he's asking, this is the proper term cycle slut? or an old lady. I don't know. But anyway, he's like, hey, let's leave. I've been saving up money. And she's like, okay, let me get my things. And then she goes and completely just squeals on him to Pike, who was once again the leader of the Dark Riders. And he, calls up the entire gang and is like, basically, this is what we do to traitors. Before we get too far, how would you describe Pike's look? Because I've got one.
Like Snake Plissken's evil, less successful brother, I guess.
Gosh, we are of one mind. I put that. That's good. Snake Plissken on meth is what I put.
Yeah, that's good too, and accurate.
But yeah, he looks just
What
like.
do you think about the makeup for the scar on him? What do you think about that?
Pretty cool. I was just about to say. I mean, for a villain, yeah, I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it. How about you?
Yeah. I thought his makeup was pretty good, and I thought he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
He's like a charismatic kind of cult-like evil villain leader, which I like that. He gave good like rousing the troops speeches to his people.
Right, and rousing the troops he did for this because he calls out that guy who was going to leave, who was wearing a leather bomber jacket, and a scarf. And
And he's basically the guy's been skimming off the top. That's the real
right.
problem. That's how
Yeah.
he got his $300.
And so he calls him out on being a liar, a thief, and he gives like this fun little speech about how what did he say, the cowboys or Native Americans in order to get rid of like traitors or deserters or whatever, they would just put them on a horse and
He said in the days of Genghis Khan.
Oh, is that what? Same difference. Same difference. They would put him on a horse and let him ride out in the desert and let fate take care of him. So in this case, the horse is a motorcycle. So they like bind his arms and legs to this motorcycle. They put some of the lime green.
It's like laying face down on it on the motorcycle,
which is already pretty painful to begin with. They put some of the explodey stuff like on his back, and then they turn the motorcycle on, and somehow the motorcycle goes straight instead of like crashing right into the ground.
Right.
And it goes through like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style sewer tunnel and explodes in the tunnel, which was a pretty cool effect on film. But what a waste of a motorcycle! Am I right?
Yeah. It's weird, but whatever. It's a villain stuff. Maybe it was his motorcycle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they had. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is just fun genre stuff.
I think they had him laying face down on the motorcycle so that the guy, whoever, because I'm sure it was like a stunt person on the motorcycle, could drive it.
Ah, yeah. There you go.
I think that's what it is. They're probably steering it, laying down like that, because you wouldn't be able to see him. It was super dark.
Right. So now we're at a hospital, and basically Barry's family is like, "Oh, are you okay?" And Barry, of course, he's for a man of science, he's very anti-doctor, which doesn't really make much sense. He's like, "I'm good. I don't need you to examine me. You can't hold me."
Right.
I would say this is more typical '90s action guy than the way a scientist would behave, because he'd be like, "Sure, run all the tests you want. I don't want to, And
Well, I took it more as like he just doesn't want to like deal with whatever may be wrong with him.
yeah, you could look at it as, to play into the themes of the Flash. He's always moving forward. He doesn't have time to get examined by some lame-o doctor. He's the Flash, baby. He's always moving fast. So let's see. Basically, we get sort of fun and games here where the Flash is he's basically learning his powers, and his powers keep manifesting at odd little times. What do we see here?
Can you imagine if because at first he doesn't really like control him. He just like goes to I guess he goes to like jog, run, and then he ends up going super fast.
Well, here's what happens.
Accidentally.
And this is, I thought it was pretty hilarious, because this is the sort of debut of the Flash powers, is his dog sees a baseball or a bone or something, and rather than pulling his dog back a full-grown man would do, he allows the dog to run and then runs with the dog. and then the
Yeah.
powers kick in, and he ends up like running through some bushes or something, or maybe this is when he ends up at the beach. Like, what did you think of that
No,
scene?
no, the beach is the second time.
Okay.
But yeah, he like runs through some bushes. So the effect is pretty bad, even for the time. Because all that they did, first of all, did you notice that like most of the times when he's running as using the powers, that he's not really running, he's like walking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was weird. They didn't have him the actor run. So he like kind of like, and it looked like a lot of times if he was interacting with other people, it was green screened in. They would green screen him in. But yeah, it was bad. It was like he was like walking fast in place, and then they just kind of like almost in place, and they just kind of like sped it up and added some motion blur.
Yeah.
But it's not like particularly. I shouldn't even say motion blur. Just added some blur. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't add like some streaks behind him. Anything.
Right. And I think this whole scene in general was supposed to be played for laughs, and it was really just sort of like an eye roll or whatever. Maybe people laughed back then. I don't know. But speaking of running,
I do like the running special effects on the Flash TV show, the modern one. I do
Right.
think like most of
Yeah.
their effects are pretty decent.
well, it's been like what 30 years. I mean, technology's caught
Yeah.
up, so I'm sure it's a lot easier now. But I forgot to tell you my story about how I almost watched the new Flash movie. I mean, it's not really a story, but I'll try to condense it. Basically,
It's okay.
basically we were visiting my folks once again in the awesome town of Valdosta, Georgia. And we wanted to take advantage of a date night since my parents were watching our son, and like there's basically nothing that would at the theater that constitutes like a date night like for adults. It's like nothing but superhero or cartoon stuff, and nothing that I really wanted to see, except for I'm at least interested in the new Flash because of Nick Cage being in it. And did you know someone else is in there? Someone else who we're both big fans of?
No.
Mr. Dean Cain.
So they do like I don't know anything about the Flash movie other than I saw some clips of the special effects and they looked kind of janky.
Star
But,
of Andy the Talking Hedgehog and Lois Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm assuming he's there as like Superman from a different universe or something.
I assume, but I'll never know because we only saw maybe 10 minutes of the movie. Like we got in there like 5-10 minutes late. The guy who took the tickets was like, "Yeah, nothing big happens in the beginning," and we're like, "Okay, no problem." There's a bunch of like noisy assholes in the back, and then and when I was watching, and what I saw wasn't too terrible, but then we got to the scene where the Flash runs. And it is the worst run you could possibly think of. He like runs like he's discoing or something. And
Oh my
like
God.
and then the shitty CGI of like the the multiverse folding in on itself. Like after that I looked at my beloved and I was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going out there. I'm either gonna complain about those guys in the back or I'm gonna ask for the money back. Which one would you rather do? She said, get the money back. So we did. So I haven't walked out of a movie since like probably 2001. But yeah, like it just, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I still want to watch it, but maybe I'll check it out another time. But anyway,
Check it out at home.
yeah, exactly. Like all of us dudes in our 40s do these days. So yeah, at one point, just to like move it along, yeah, there's another scene where his powers kick in. He ends up running to the ocean, and like these people have to pull him out. And this is kind of weird. Okay, so he wakes up and he's like, Star Ocean or Star Beach, how did I get here? And cut to, he's waking up underneath a lifeguard stand. So those people pulled him out. They made sure he was okay, and then once they saw he was okay, they just left him there, and he crawled under a lifeguard stand. Is that what happened there, Yahel?
I guess so. I sure. I mean, it's a better explanation than we're given.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. Then he goes to, get this, young people, a phone booth. They're so old. There's a phone booth. All right, anyway, he goes to a phone booth. And he calls Iris, and she's a real bitch to him over the phone. I I don't know. I think, well, I would say the the writers of this don't like women, but when he meets the professor, like she's pretty cool, Dr. McGee. So we'll have to rule that out. Um, and there's some more shenanigans that go on in Barry's apartment. His why does Barry need to have a dog named Earl?
I don't know. That is strange. And why is the dog like scared of him just because he ran fast?
He keeps putting himself in the closet to like get away from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's there for kids. Like a scrappy.
Maybe it's some social commentary
Oh yeah, like what? I want to hear.
on the time because he's putting himself in the closet. Steve.
Are you saying the Flash is gay? Or the
I'm
dog
saying
is
his
gay?
dog.
Oh,
The
our
dog.
gay dog. I'm liking it. We'll have to unpack that later. So, all right. I think so. At some point, there's a phone call from Dr. McGee. Actually, they tease Dr. McGee at the beginning. They're like, "Oh, there's this person who works for Star Labs. She wants to examine you." Of course, Barry. He's just he doesn't have time for that. He's got too much going on. But after his powers kick in, he's like, "I better go talk to this person." And again, she's wearing some pretty awful like 90s fashion at the time. Like it's almost like a pantsuit, but it's really like, I don't know, fluffy or how would you describe it? Do you even remember?
No, I don't. I must have
Yeah.
blocked it out of my mind.
Anyway, he shows up at Star Labs, and there's some pretty hilarious computer graphics of when the doc is testing Barry. And she says something about I don't know says something about his powers or how she wants someone to help figure out why her husband passed away. And then Barry says, "I think you've been reading too many comic books."
No.
Wink, wink.
Yoink. Yeah, wink, wink.
I
I
mean,
don't know why I
back
said yoink, yoink.
back then, that would be high, meta right there. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of eye rolly at this point. And I put here, do you think John Wesley Shipp also looks a bit like Chuck Woolery from the Love Connection?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So
I'm turning my camera off, Steve, for just a second, but actually, I just gotta. I'm listening. You keep going. I'll be back
Okay.
like in 30 seconds.
So basically, Jay Allen, they create this task force to go up against the Dark Riders. And I love that the armor that they wear looks like it was stolen directly from RoboCop. I mean, it's your typical sort of SWAT RoboCop looking armor. And I don't know, they attack something, and basically Jay, Barry's brother, he's being interviewed by a reporter, and he's all like, "We're coming to bury you, you Dark Riders," or something along those lines. And all the Dark Riders are watching it in their awesome lair. Of course, they have multiple TVs because that's how you do if you're a villain in the 90s. You got to have multiple TVs. Am I right?
Absolutely. Tons of CRTs everywhere, looking like a display at a retro gaming convention or something.
Or Montgomery Ward.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now that is a deep cut to the 90s.
Or Circuit City, we'll throw that in there too.
Yeah.
So now
Was Montgomery Ward also just like technology and appliances, or
I thought
were they
so.
more like a department stores like Sears? I can't remember.
I think I only went to it once when they were closing down, so I could get myself an awesome brand new flat screen TV at a discounted price. But
wow.
no one cares about
Maybe
that.
if you had supported them earlier, they wouldn't have had to close.
I just wanted a cheap TV. Hey, man, if you can't hack it in capitalist America, go to Russia. Yeah. So sorry, my roids. Just
I don't know
kicked
what we were
in.
talking about either.
But no, all right. So now they're testing the Flash out on the racetrack. As Yahel said, that scene is borrowed or recreated almost verbatim on the new Grant Gustin Flash. And then we get some more cheesy computer graphics when he's like running and they're showing his readouts and stuff like that. What do you think about those computer graphics?
They reminded me of some of the graphics that they would use on Thunder in Paradise.
Absolutely.
But I mean, kind of surprisingly not very advanced looking. Because usually when they have like computer graphics in '90s shows, they for some reason always make the graphics look like more advanced than any actual operating system of the day would look.
Right.
But they didn't really do that here. It almost looks like DOS.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a point and click adventure of some kind.
Yeah, but hey, maybe they were going, to try to have a more grounded look.
Right. Right. So let's see. Basically, the Dark Riders and or the Dark Riders lure Jay Garrett and the rest of the task force out to. They go to approach it's like a semi truck or a car parked across the street. I mean, and it's obviously one of the Dark Riders, but whatever, just go with it. And Jay Garrick approaches, and she's like, "Oh, I need help." And he's like, "Okay, we'll get you some help. I'll call a tow truck to get your car." I mean, this is the most obvious setup in
But he says, "I'm not supposed to do this."
Right.
You're not supposed to call a tow?
Yeah, I know,
Tow
it's
truck
weird.
for a citizen? Like,
I guess
why
they
not?
just want to show that he's willing to bend the rules to help a woman in trouble.
Weird way to do it, because like, I mean, he's kind of comes off like an asshole.
But he's in
And
serious cop mode, though, at the same time.
and people don't have like cell phones generally.
Right.
When this came out. So yeah, just real weird. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, it's a pretty obvious setup by Captain Sonia Gomez here. She like walks away very nervously, like and quickly, and then the Jay yells, "Get away from the car!"
Right.
And it explodes.
Yeah, it explodes. And does the explosion kill Jay, or do the Dark Riders show up and then there's a shootout? I can't remember.
No. Pike kills Jay.
Ah, yes.
Remember, that's supposed to be like a big moment.
Right, of course. And then, so the Flash is, even though he's the Flash, is somehow still too late. He finds his brother lying on the ground, and he picks him up and cradles him in his arms in that sort of classic. I mean, it's been parodied a million times in 80s and 90s action. The brother dies, and we don't get a no, we just get a arg.
Yeah.
And the thing that I feel like they really missed out on is usually this scene is done like with a crane, so you can look down and zoom out at the same time, so it's like the soul leaving the body or whatever. Well, they couldn't afford a crane for some reason.
No.
And it's just sort of awkwardly shot from the side, and Barry just looks off into the distance. I mean, the effect is there. It's just I've seen it done better so many times. What say you?
Like, I totally agree. And they couldn't afford the crane, or didn't want to spend money on a crane. For those that don't, like, you have to like rent a crane usually. It's not like something the studios just have.
Right, and you can't use a
There's no
drone.
drones.
Yeah, because they didn't have that back then. Yeah.
So the thing that kills me is like they don't have money for the crane. There's a few other like things where they cut costs, but then at the end they blow up like a silo. It's not like a miniature. Like they blow up like a giant freaking silo. So I don't know. I guess they like really wanted to spend their money on the action stuff, like
and they cut
like
back
things like exploding and blowing up and the guns and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So now Barry is all pissed. I guess I forgot to mention that back at the racetrack. That's where we see the. I don't know how it's supposedly a Russian, like it's a red Russian suit that's supposed to. How did they describe it? Do you remember? It's supposed to like compress. It's a compression suit. That's
she
what
said
it
something
is.
about being red and Russian, and
Right. And
I could not remember what she said they were originally developing it for.
Yeah, but yeah, he has to wear it because his clothes keep blowing off when he runs. There's also a sort of a fun, awkward scene back on that racetrack where he grabs the doctor and he runs with her, and like her clothes, I mean, like a little bit of her sleeve comes off. I guess they're trying to tease a possible romance there, or I mean, because that seems pretty irresponsible on Barry's fault. I mean, what if she just blew up? I mean, incinerated.
And like when he picks her up to go running, he like shows up running 500 miles an hour, he would like run through her, wouldn't he?
You'd think so. And like that's the thing here is I think they really wanted to tack in some romance into what is pretty much an action show, and yeah, they really want to make sure that women are attracted to the Flash.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to so Barry is now, of course, like in full on. He's pissed that his brother is dead, so he goes back to Star Labs and tells Dr. McGee that he will help her. And that he, that she needs to improve the suit. He needs gloves so people won't see get his fingerprints.
So he won't leave fingerprints.
Right, and a hood so people won't see who he is. And that, and I love how there in an explanation for the Flash logo, he's like, that blood dot that the Dark Riders have, which they sort of barely even show. It's like, I've got my own idea for a symbol. And he had already drawn out the Flash symbol. It's so cheesy, but I liked it. How about you?
I liked it too. I actually really liked that they had an explanation for it. And that it was like, oh, they have a symbol, I'm going to be a symbol too, or have a symbol of my own. So I actually really liked that.
Right. And so, like, Barry goes out and does some more crime stuff. He catches that... the girl, right? The bad Dark Rider girl, and she stabs him in the leg. Isn't that how he gets stabbed?
He goes up to I keep calling her Captain Sonia Gomez, but her character is Lila. And yeah, she like stabs him in the thigh. Like the
And I mean,
right
I
in the
thought
quad.
he would be, quick enough to probably stop that. But I mean, I guess you could say he's emotional. He's like interrogating her, asking her where
The
Pike
powers
is.
are new to him.
Sure. I mean, I can.
He didn't expect it.
Right,
Because
I can-
remember, he's very surprised when she takes off her helmet and to see that it's a woman.
Yeah.
He's like, so he also probably just like feels like, oh crap, I don't want to hurt her.
He was all. I could see his in his expression. He was like, "A woman, you're supposed to be at home cooking." Like,
No, that's what his dad.
right.
The
Emmett
racist.
Walsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could tell that Barry's mom has taken a hit or two over the years, but but anyway, so at some point, I think Barry does like the blackout and the or he loses his costume or something, and then he has to put on like new maybe he doesn't have the costume yet, I think is the deal, but he has to steal clothes a la Bruce Banner from the Incredible Hulk. And then he sees some cops and they recognize him, and they're like, "Hey, you want a ride?" So he gives him a ride, and then after he leaves, they're like, "Hey, did you get a load of those red boots? I know that guy's going through a lot with his dead brother and everything, but hey, what's going on? Hey, these lab guys,
Yeah.
right?" So basically they're questioning Barry's sexuality because of his red boots.
Yeah. And he's like, well, what would you do if you got hit by lightning? Oh, I guess I'd buy some red boots.
Yeah, do you think they were trying to sort of lighten the mood with these wacky cops? I mean, I don't know what's going on.
I definitely think it was supposed. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be comical.
Well, it gets weirder and sort of cringier up next. So, all right, so he's talking with Professor McGee. They end up going back to his place, and who's waiting for him but Iris? And she's like, "Oh, I should go," but Barry's like, "No, this is just the professor. We were working on something together." And so Professor McGee goes home, and basically Iris is like, well, first Barry says, "Oh, we don't need to get married so fast. No more pressure." But then Iris is like, "Oh no, I mean, I was going to say that we could get married, but instead, let's just go ahead and have sex." And so they do. And then they cut to, she's saying, "I can't believe it was over so quick with all that anticipation." And you're like, wow, Flash, you finished so quick. You didn't let her enjoy it. But what she's really talking about is a pay-per-view boxing match that they watched instead of having sex. Well, what's going on here, Yahel? What's going
Yeah,
on?
like she says something like, "Oh, I can't believe," or he says something, "I can't believe that boxing match ended in round 2 or something."
What is that? Like that's I mean, this is supposed to be like the dark time in the hero's journey because the brother is dead and he's becoming the hero that he's supposed to be, and we're over here making like premature sex jokes like
it's dead brother sex, Steve.
but like it was
Did you catch earlier? I'm so sorry. Like in one of the first scenes in the show when they're at the Allen's house having dinner, that like Jay, his brother, is like basically telling his wife that that he wants to fuck her. Oh God, what did he tell her? Okay, Barry Allen's. It's so weird. She's got like ginseng tea. She's the only one. She brought like her own tea, and he's like, "What is that?" "Oh, that's ginseng tea." And then he's Barry Allen to her in front of his family, his parents and his grandparents. "Isn't that an aphrodisiac?"
Oh yeah. That's so
and she's
weird.
like, yeah. And then Jay turns to his wife and goes, maybe you should have some for later. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And he just goes, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Like he almost mouthed, you have to after.
Yeah.
But
You pretty much have to. Yeah.
anyways, just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So
That Jay wants to force his wife. You know what? Jay is a typical like modern bad cop if you think about it. Jay is demanding sex from his wife, telling her she has to do it basically in front of everybody too. So it's also like demeaning her in front of the family. And then later he doesn't want to help Lila with just calling a tow truck. All you got to do is make a call, buddy.
But I
or
think
radio it in.
this pattern of behavior has already been established by the dad, though, Yahel, as we spoke about earlier. I mean, clearly.
Yeah, like follow
he's-
like so. Well, thankfully Barry's breaking the cycle.
Yeah, he sure is.
Or is he?
But-
Is he? Because when he picks up the doctor lady,
yeah.
the scientist, very aggressively.
Very
you know.
aggressive. I mean, where was that going to go? I mean, he stopped it. But where was it going to go, Yahel? Where was it going to go?
Maybe it happened so fast that we didn't even see it and she didn't feel it.
Oh, wow. Now that's creepy. So anyway, the thing about this whole scene is that, yeah, he's supposed to be like sad and down in the dumps. And instead we're having like goofy post-dead bro sex, as he said. And then there's okay, so now we get another sort of interrogation scene with Lila, and Barry is doing the interrogation. And this is another weird there's a lot of weird sexual innuendo in this, which of course we're always looking for whenever we have an episode.
Sure.
But so Barry's like, this is serious Barry, no more goofy like nerd guy from the beginning. It's like, tell me where Pike is, blah, blah, blah. And she's not going to do it. And then he goes, take off her clothes. And there's this odd sort of pause. Send them to the lab so I can test him. Like more. And I was like, Barry, were you going to rape her? Like, what's going on here?
Send him to the lab so I can smell. Run some tests.
That was just so bizarre. Like that's like two sort of like little fake outs that the writers threw in here. And it's just, I don't know. It just sort of took me aback a bit. Maybe they're just making sure we're paying attention. That's all. So anyway, the Dark Riders, they now break into a prison. There's only 2 guards in the entire prison. Yahel, did you notice that? There's a lot of cool purple lighting.
It's a jail.
Right. Oh, okay. I'll go with that. So 2
It's not
guards.
a prison, it's a police headquarters, so it's a jail.
Sure. There's a purple lighting on Pike in the prison for no reason. I love it.
I've been in jail. That's how it is.
I bet it is, especially in Tampa. Somehow the entire police of Central City are outgunned by this motorcycle gang. Like you couldn't, call in reinforcements. You couldn't call in the National Guard, but whatever. They're trying to keep their prices low. I think we've established that.
By the way, what's up with the earlier? I'm into. I think it was when I stepped away for a second. You were talking about when they do the press conference at night.
Yeah, they're always at night. It seems like.
Why is there a press conference being done like at 10 p.m. at night? Just very strange. But anyways,
it's how they do things in Central City. It's the city that never sleeps.
because it's like outside the police headquarters at night. So anyway, I digress.
So one thing we forgot to mention is that, and I thought this was, I mean, I understand why it's there, but kind of I mean, there's really no explanation for it other than sort of like a theory where the Flash he basically sort of faints out of nowhere here and there. Dr. McGee says it's just because his like metabolism hasn't caught up yet, or something, blah blah blah. She explains it away with science. So that's there so the Flash can have a weakness. So when he finally goes up against Pike, he won't like pick him up.
He won't be so OP.
Yeah, exactly. Pick him up, cradle him in his arms, and have his like clothes fall off and him disintegrate into nothing. So the Flash confronts Pike, and of course he like faints, and then Pike picks up a metal bar a la Clarence Brodiger from RoboCop, starts beating him with it, and I was just like, wow, who knew the Flash's weakness was a metal pipe? So he keeps beating him, and then the Flash comes back. Like Pike, he sort of dismisses him and leaves. I don't know why he wouldn't finish the job, but and then he shoots a missile at him. Then the Flash runs around him, creating a tornado, and it makes Pike fly up into electric power lines where he gets electrocuted. And I was like, wow, the Flash just straight up murdered a guy. But he's not dead, right, Yahel?
No. Yeah, I thought so too. I was like, wow, they're going to have him kill him. That's kind of crazy. But then he ended up... he falls down to the ground. The bad guy does, Pike, and then Flash sits him up and ties him up because he's just knocked out, I guess. He's just a little dizzy, needs a little sleep.
That's right, kids. If you were to climb up and grab the power lines, you'd be okay. Just need to take a little nappy nap.
A bunch of people here I will say in this show, like a bunch of people do get shot and killed.
Yeah.
But you never see any blood.
Right.
But a lot of times, like, people wouldn't even get killed. It'd be like the A-Team where there's like, millions of shots fired, but no one's ever hit. But...
Sure. Yeah, I'm curious if they kept up with this sort of level of, I mean, I use the term lightly, violence, like with the other episodes. I do remember one episode, there's like I don't know if it's supposed to be like a Batman ripoff. There's like a guy named Nightshade that he teams up with. And then there's like a more extreme version of him. This guy with just 2 Uzis that just mows down everyone. So, maybe they're keeping it up with the, the 80s style violence in the Flash show here, which is this show geared at kids or the 18 to 24-year-old demographic?
It's like it can't figure itself out.
And I'm okay with that. I like it. I like the tone that they have, at least here in the pilot. But so Barry and the Doc like have a moment, and then Julio has dinner with Barry's family. I can't believe Barry's dad allowed him to join them.
Oh, they're going to skin him.
Oh, Jesus!
Or not skin. They're gonna do that. When I was watching that, it's funny because I was like, ooh, this feels a little like Get Out.
Well, they had to show that Barry and his family weren't racist by, or at least, and maybe the whole show. Well, the police captain is also African American, so there you go. There's your diversity.
I do like the guy that plays Julio.
Yeah, he's very charismatic. Yeah.
Yeah, and him and Barry, they have like a good chemistry, good rapport.
I always thought Julio was pretty cool when I was watching it as a 8 or 10-year-old, whatever it was. So I would say the emotional crux of the film here comes at the end when Barry has to talk to Jay's son and tells him kind of a weird story about his dad getting a silver medal.
Yeah, he tells him a story. Let me tell you all about when your dad came in second.
Yeah.
Your dead father? Let me tell you.
I'm just trying
the only thing he was ever first at was dying in this family.
Oh, damn. But I'm just trying to think or understand the thought behind with the writers here. It's like, let's tell them about how the dad got in second place.
It's supposed to be like, so I think we kind of didn't really touch on it, but the dinner earlier is for his brother's birthday, and outside, Barry is like talking to Jay, his brother. He's like, "Oh, here, I got you a present." He unwraps it, and it's like a silver medal that he got in high school, that Jay got in high school, and he's like, "Oh, I thought I lost this like back in high school, he's like, yeah, I borrowed it. Why did Barry borrow it?
Yeah, that's to impress a girl, I guess. Hey,
Maybe.
baby,
But
check out my chin and
yeah,
silver medal.
but Barry's the little brother, so I think the idea is that he stole it, and he's just jokingly saying borrow it. But he's like, I borrowed it. What a shitty birthday gift! Like,
Yeah.
oh, thanks for taking the thing you stole from me 30 years ago.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'll give him credit for trying to like instill like a little bit of emotion into what's basically, an all-out action like superhero with weird romantic subplot like thrown
Steve,
in.
if Barry gave it to Jay, why does Barry have it in the last scene? Because he's now giving it to his son.
There actually is a scene where I think Julio gives it to him. It's like, hey, we have your brother's effects. Like, here's the silver medal.
Yeah, you're right. All
It
right.
is in there.
My mistake. I shouldn't have doubted that there'd be any plot holes.
Hey,
in the
they are
1990s
good writers. I mean, The Rocketeer is almost a perfect movie, I think. But I mean, we can save that for another time. And you should watch Trancers as well. But all right, are you ready to render your verdict on the Flash '90s TV
Let's
show?
do it.
Okay.
Remembered or obliterated? That is the question.
All right, Mr. Los Flash or L Flash. Do you think the 90s Flash TV show should be remembered for all of human history or tossed into the multiverse, never to be heard from again?
I'm going to say remembered for me. This was pretty enjoyable. My one thing I would say is that I don't think this needed to be an hour and a half. But it's pretty typical. All the other episodes are 45 minutes, and especially then, it was pretty typical to have, if it was a show on network TV, to have that first episode be like a TV movie. So, I get why they did it. I just feel like in some areas the pacing kind of dragged out a little bit for me, but overall, I really liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And I really like John Wesley Shipp as an actor also. I definitely think he's he does a good job here for sure. I definitely think he's gotten better as an actor though. But he does good here. But anyways, what say ye, Steve?
Oh, I agree with pretty much everything you said there. This was a nice trip down memory lane for me, though I'm pretty sure I've never actually seen the full pilot. I think I caught it when it was in its sort of regular, like the regular first episode. I don't really remember anything from this. I definitely didn't remember that Tim Thomerson was in it, though. I mean, I didn't even know who he was back then. But yeah, I think a lot of the charm is sort of in the writing, even though they did some weird sort of sex jokes, like a weird subplot. Other than that, I feel like maybe that might have actually been like the studio being like, oh, you got to put in more romance, something for the ladies.
Sure. This needs more jokes.
Right, yeah, because everything else seemed pretty by the numbers, hero's journey. But then when you throw that stuff in, it just kind of throws you for a loop.
Yeah, and like the jokes are like they do feel like stuff that was tacked on at the last minute. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, Steve, I wonder if scenes like the scene with the cops in the car where we were like, why are they having this weird conversation? If that was put in for time and to add more comedy, because it feels like something done to stretch out the time. And there's a terrible joke at the end where like the cops had a box of donuts in the back seat, because of course they do, because they're cops.
Right.
And donuts are irresistible to a policeman, Stephen.
That's how you've gotten out of all your DUIs over the years.
Throw donuts. Just throw donuts. Anyway, so the box is open. The box is open, but it's also empty. And they're like, oh, you ate all the donuts? No, you ate all the donuts. And obviously it's the Flash that ate all the donuts.
Right. That was one thing I was glad that was represented, because when one of my favorite comic book writers, Mike Barron, took over the Flash, he theorized that if you were the Flash, you would have a high metabolism. You would be eating all the time.
You'd be burning calories left and right, yeah. Exactly. And I love that they carried that over into the new Flash, too, in Season 1.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So for all those reasons, the Flash 90s TV show will be remembered. Here you go.
In accordance to Obscurity Now, the most important streaming YouTube podcast in all of the internet, you shall be remembered. Yes. good show. A good show.
All right, and I believe that's going to do it. Make sure you let us know what you think about The Flash. Is it the best version? Let us know down in the comments or on Twitter or anywhere else that you might want to voice your opinion, because we're there, lurking in the shadows, just like that no good Pike. You know what I'm saying? Anything else going on in your world we need to touch on before we sign off here?
No. I think I'll finally start editing a video next weekend, so that'll be nice. But no, just me, Steve, getting coffin shelves and strange things of the dark, the creature of the night, like Jeff Hardy,
who just recently got written off of AEW TV for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, he's back now.
Oh wow. Well, that was fast.
Smoke Monster just popped in. He said, "I'm here. You can start the stream now." Well, you can restart the stream, Smoke Monster. We're signing off, sir.
Yeah,
but it's good to see you.
I will. Yes, thanks for showing up. Hopefully, this is the start of many streams where things don't screw up like they used to. Because
everything worked perfectly. I'm shocked.
I would like to add that I finally got my proofs for issue number 2 of Escape to Earth. And there were a few things that need to be corrected, but if you supported Escape to Earth number 2 on Kickstarter, your books will be coming your way whenever they send them to me, probably a couple of weeks.
You added the donut comedy that that the studio demanded.
Yes. Oh yeah. There's like 2 dinosaurs. They talk. They're always talking about donuts. And
I heard that Extreme Studios reached out to you with some notes.
Oh man,
from Rob Liefeld.
You know, he was signing at a comic book store in Orange County a few weeks ago. But I think it was when I was in Florida or Georgia, however you want to look at it. But I don't know. We'll have to see if he's signing again when you go to Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Yeah. Rob Liefeld dislikes us so much now that he'll only do signings when we're not in the state.
I'd like to believe that. That's going to make me sleep better tonight. All right. Well, thank you, everyone who joined us in the live chat, or even if you didn't, thanks for listening. And we will see you next Sunday as we continue to unearth even more obscure media only on Obscurity Now. See you next time.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Let's take a look at the list. It's cooling off now, but yeah, it was real hot when I first got in here. Did we have this on the list? So I can take it off. It's not. No, we didn't. Yeah, this is a long list where we're never gonna run out of material. Sorry, I was talking before.